There are 6 core colleague-based issues which tend to stifle DE&I advancement and lead colleagues or coworkers to shirk their cultural responsibilities. The first is a lack of cultural awareness. This awareness is in relation to others, not just of self, and this inability to maintain an appropriate point of view limits the ability to empathize, connect with, and of course, advocate for those who may be suffering around you. The second inability or irresponsibility is poor cultural judgment. When you fail to be aware of something, you oftentimes fail to be appropriately responsive to it. In terms of your cultural judgment as an individual, you may be a good person, but within an organization or within an environment where there is toxicity, and perhaps you are not a beneficiary of that toxicity, you may be unable to make the right decisions because of your lack of awareness and failure to respond appropriately. The third thing is a lack of accountability. Now, on a colleague level, many colleagues don't want to get involved. Many colleagues who are either bystanders to DE&I infractions or are just really overwhelmed by their professional obligations and duties, as well as their personal obligations and duties, may not hold others accountable for doing certain things. In addition to that, they may also not be one who is in a position to be held accountable safely. And so that's why it's important as managers that you create feedback loops for your team to tell you where perhaps you can be stronger, where perhaps things aren't the greatest, without retaliation. The fourth irresponsibility is a lack of DE&I self-defense training. This is critical and it counts as an irresponsibility because many minoritized individuals go through cultural experiences that tend to derail or shift their career trajectories or perspectives. They also tend to walk away wounded with memories of cultural interactions that didn't go their way, and they develop a sense of lowered professional or self or even cultural worth because of these irresponsibilities, especially this one. So it's really important as a minoritized individual that you learn how to defend yourself against all of the travesties that are taught to you as realities. But as a majoritized member, if you are in a dominant group, then it behooves you to pay attention to whether or not you're creating situations that perhaps require a defense on the part of a minoritized colleague, or to help a colleague that is currently experiencing workplace abuse get equal footing somehow. So, using your power and your influence to create positive outcomes. The next irresponsibility are flawed theory to practice conversions. And so I touched on that a few seconds ago when I mentioned interest convergence. But what this irresponsibility highlights are particularly how individuals fail to apply the theories, the insights, the experiences of others and convert that into cultural responsibility. And so what you will have here are individuals who perhaps learn that constructive discharge is a negative DE&I practice, but will still utilize it in their offices. Or they learn that, creating spaces for authenticity and belonging are helpful for employees to feel satisfied, and still they rebel against it because they don't want a change from the older way of doing things professionally, which of course, as we all know, was very regimented, rigid, and what's the word? Apathetic. I'm gonna go with apathetic, y'all. Last irresponsibility is the failure to elevate and amplify. On the individual level, we'll oftentimes find colleagues or coworkers rather, who say that they are supportive of DE&I, but don't use their influence to create spaces for conversations to occur. They don't use their influence to inspire accountability on behalf of their collegial peers, perhaps people on the same power line as they are, if we're talking about hierarchy. So you want to make sure that individually speaking, you are elevating and amplifying your voice and the voices of others. And if you're not, just be aware that that is something that is culturally irresponsible and perhaps contributing to DE&I issues around you.